You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Real Housewives of Orange County After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Real Housewives of Orange County After Show.
Gonna be this way. Okay. What's up, guys? You know what time it is. Welcome to Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 9, Episode 3, Fakesgiving Fake Friends. We had a lot going on in this episode, but first, my name is Sterling Cates, and here's my lovely co-host.
Thank you, Sterling. I'm CJ Simpson.
And we have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely, we do. A lot of drama that went on, as always.
Right. But even we got a lot of answers this episode that we all were hoping we would get from last week. So it starts out at Shannon's dinner party, and we have them all sitting around the table. It seems like Shannon cooked all the food, and her husband helped cook all the meat.
As we saw last week when all the drama unfolded in the kitchen. But now everyone's eating and everyone loves the food.
Right. So fast forward to, so it's a little bit of a different type of dinner party than they're used to, because before they had the just, small snacks and food that you really couldn't eat, but this is like a hearty meal they're having.
Yes.
So that's good. So let's dive right into kind of what happened. So we still have the tension with Shannon and David.
Yeah.
That's really awkward.
They are publicly fighting and getting on each other's nerves, so there's no telling what they're doing behind the door. So their relationship, when we're still learning about Shannon and David, it's obvious that their marriage is not in the best place. Right. And they just celebrated 13 years, we found out. So.
And I've got to say, last week we talked about David as being, we were like, he's really weird. Yeah. What were some other things we said? He was aloof, this whole thing. But I liked him a lot more this week. I literally just think he has that dry sense of humor. He's kind of funny to me. And I think that a lot of it is Shannon, kind of wanting that attention. And she said, I'm going to quote here, she said that she always feels like David feels like she's bitching at him all the time. Right. And she said, well, that's because I am bitching at him. That's the quote for quote.
And she said the reason is because she just wants to be loved. Right. And I believe that. And I feel that if a man in a marriage or a woman in a marriage has not taken their partner on a trip for 13 years, but can go on a trip with their boys once a year, I probably wouldn't feel loved either.
Right. So everyone at the table was feeling the tension between them. You could hear them arguing. Everyone was very uncomfortable with them fighting publicly in front of other people. Makes you kind of wonder what they do behind closed doors.
Absolutely.
Right. So that was one thing going on at the dinner party. And then we also had a really tense moment between Vicki and Heather.
Yes.
With Terry in the middle of it. They're kind of talking over him. But no one's letting anyone finish any sentences. What did you think about that? What was your reaction?
Well, I thought it was interesting that Vicki finally called Heather on it. It was a situation where Shannon was trying to explain how her and David actually met and how they started dating when she moved to California. And Heather kept trying to insert herself into the conversation. So Vicki snapped and she said, let her finish. And then Heather says, no, I think Heather said, let her finish to Vicki. And Vicki says, don't ever say that to me again. Don't ever tell me what to do again, basically. And from there, the tension just built. And then Tamra caught on to it, and then it just became like everybody against Heather, and Heather just was never feeling the dinner party after that.
Right. So we have a little bit of a funny situation here because Tamra and Vicki think that Heather won't let them say anything they want to without inserting her own opinion. But then we have Heather who thinks they won't let her get a word out.
Right.
So it's like everyone's kind of confused about exactly what the problem
is. I think they all just want to talk too much.
Right.
That's the problem, is that you all want to talk the whole time, and you want to be heard, but Heather is pretty much very pushy and a know-it-all, so I see how she could come off as that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got a group of ladies here who have a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to happen.
Especially Heather, though.
Right.
Especially Heather.
Right. So then Shannon and Tamra take a little trip to the kitchen and are taking some shots together. So we can see that Shannon, does have that fun side. She's not always, fighting with her husband or, uptight or anything like that. But she is down to have a good time, just like Tamra is.
Yeah.
And they bring out the morning after pill,
which is not for pregnancy. Right. Let us just tell you that the morning after pill is for the hangover.
Right.
But Tamra was yelling out like, "I've got the morning after pill." She's laying on Shannon's countertops and like, "Hey, I've got the more." And then Heather walks in and says something smart, saying, "No, that's not going to work because you have your tubes tied."
Yeah.
Like, that was totally unnecessary.
Right.
And so then Tamra's like, "Oh, there she goes, fancy pants. She's got the stick shoved so far up her," this is a quote, "up her ass," that, we can't even pull it out. So, and it was kind of true because everyone was out on the basketball court having fun, even the husbands, the wives in their dresses. Everybody was shooting basketball. Yes, Shannon and David have a basketball court in their home, not outside, but in their home. So everyone's having a good time after drinking, and the only person that's not down there having a good time is Heather.
She's just chilling with where the cleaning lady's
cleaning
up
like she's
glass.
too good. Like, she doesn't know how to let her hair down.
Right. Yeah, and back to the shot, when they're taking shots in the kitchen, they're having a great time. They're joking about how this pill from Whole Foods really is just herbs that make you feel better in the morning. But, they're just joking around like, "Oh, it's a morning after pill," just having lighthearted fun. And then Heather takes it way too far by saying, "No, that's not a morning after pill because you have your tubes tied."
Right.
That's a very sensitive topic
Absolutely.
for Tamra, especially since she's wanting more children right now. And so, like, why turn such a fun and lighthearted situation into something that, that's way too far?
But she took it even further, because then she pulls Eddie to a side when everyone says, "Oh, come see this," and Heather's like, "No, I've already seen it." And she was just waiting for that moment to have a moment alone with Eddie to rat her friend out. And she tells Eddie, "Tamra, we were at dinner and Tamra cried her eyes out because she said you really wanted another child. And, we know it's really her that wants the other child." And Eddie's like, "Oh, what?" Like,
right. As soon as Tamra walks out the door, she couldn't even get out the door yet.
Yeah.
And Heather grabs Eddie and she says, "We all know that you don't want kids, but Tamra does. I think she's not being honest with you about this, and she's talking to us about it." First of all, this is none of Heather's business.
Absolutely not.
It's not anywhere close to anything she should be talking about her best friend's husband about.
Yeah,
at a dinner party, even, or ever, really. She shouldn't ever have that conversation with.
Not with her friend's husband. And I kind of fault Tamra to some point for opening up and sharing all of that, because, well, I guess you do with certain people that you trust, but you really have to be careful of who you allow to be inserted into your relationship.
Definitely. Well, then, so everyone else is having fun, and Heather says, "Oh, wow, it's 11 p.m. I really got to get out of here.
Oh, it's so
gotta
late.
Get back to the.
I've got to get out."
Right. Yeah. So another reason she's not being fun or giving in to it's a dinner party. Let loose a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she leaves, and that gives Tamra an opportunity to talk to Eddie, and Eddie brings up that he felt very uncomfortable, with good reason, for when Heather brought up this very personal issue with him at a dinner party about kids, and he asked Tamra to not talk about their personal lives with their friends anymore, which, she should be able to talk to her closest friends about things like that.
But if her husband requests that,
but it should never get back. Like, it
should have never gotten back to Eddie, and you should be able to know that your friend is not going to pass that back and forth, and you learn that in life. Like, but obviously she doesn't know that that was the type of person she was sharing that information with.
Right. And especially, you know, it's gonna be on national television anyway, but that's not Heather's place to tell Eddie.
Absolutely not.
Because it's their kids. Heather wouldn't be a
Yes.
parent. So then Eddie confronts Tamra, and Vicki really likes Shannon. She loves her. She's like, I might just let you into the club. So for Vicki, that's a huge thing.
And it seemed to me in that moment that they kind of pushed Heather out and brought Shannon in. So you even see that later on in the episode, but it just seems like Heather is being replaced in this episode with Shannon.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we have a lot more to get to, but first let's so please rate us on iTunes. Go on there, rate us 5 stars if you want, or whatever you feel. But rate and comment, and so then we can keep bringing you back Real Housewives of Orange County, and you know, come back every week.
Absolutely, please 5 stars, 5 stars.
All right, so let's get back to so after the dinner party, we have a scene with Vicki and Brianna, which we were really hoping to have last week because they're finally addressing the Brooke situation and kind of where both of them stand with that. So what was your impression of their talk they had?
My impression is that their communication is horrible.
Right.
I believe that Brianna is very concerned for her mother. She's seen things that she can see that Vicki cannot see because she is not in the situation like Vicki is. I think that they just don't know how to communicate. And Brianna's trying to tell you, look, Mom, I love you. I care about you. I'm trying to show concern from you. And Vicki just explodes. Like, her anger comes to a head, and I feel as if it shows even more that she doesn't really see what she's in.
Right.
Like, Brianna's like, look, you weren't happy with my dad. You weren't happy with Don. I do not feel like you're happy now. I don't want to see you go down this road again. And Vicki's just like, wow! Like, she completely loses it. And it just shows that Vicki has not worked on the things she needed to work on before having this conversation.
Well, and she talks about how her counselor and her therapist are telling her that Vicki needs to live her life and let Brianna live her life, and you know, and make decisions that are going to make her happy. But in order to do that, she can't care so much about what everyone else thinks. But she says that she wants the people she cares about to approve of her decisions. But the thing is not everyone's going to approve of decisions you make. So you got to really think about what's going to make you the happiest.
And if that's what makes her happy, she should roll with it. But at the same time, you can't explode. You have to be calm with it.
Right.
You can't, you know, just because someone's telling you they still care. And it seemed like that in this conversation, opposed to other past conversations she's had with Brianna, is that Brianna wasn't as... no, if you ever talk to him, I will never be in your life. She was very calm, and she was like, look, I just love you. I care about you. And Vicki just exploded. Like, you'd think it would be vice versa.
Right. I really could understand where Brianna was coming from, because if she thinks this person, Brooks, is being any amount of abusive towards her mother, she's obviously going to be concerned and not just say it's okay, because that wouldn't be okay. If that is the case, then you can't just allow it to happen without expressing your concern. But in this instance, which we haven't seen her do before, she did say, if that's what makes you happy, go for it, but I don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
And I mean, what else? Literally, what else could she want her to say? If she doesn't like him, she doesn't like him.
I have health problems. I cannot deal with the drama. If this is what makes you happy,
right.
Go for
Brianna has a lot of stuff going on in her own life with her husband, with her kids, and with her health, that she, you know, is going to voice her concerns about her mom's relationship, but at the same time, she has a lot going on
she has to deal with her own life.
Yeah, totally. So I'm hoping that we'll kind of figure out in the following episodes what Brooke's place is here.
Things must not be as seriously broken as perceived, because she wouldn't be. Later on in the episode, we see Vicki taking care of the baby, babysitting the baby and the dog.
Yeah.
And if it was such a big blow up and it was ended badly, or the child wouldn't be in Vicki's care by herself, like, you know.
Right. I totally think that she definitely cares so much about her family. Yeah. We see that she has a responsibility with Troy, Brianna's son, and you know, your family at the end of the day. You're going to be there for each other, and you have those arguments, and you want to voice your concerns. So I can definitely see both sides of the discussion here, but I really want Vicki to just kind of take the feedback in stride and just decide what she wants to do and do it for herself. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting once Brooks gets into the picture. And I think that's going to happen. We still haven't seen him.
Yeah, we're going to see him next episode, though.
Yeah.
Because we saw the teaser that he'll be there in the next episode.
Right. And Vicki was telling, when Tamra came over to Vicki's house, and she said, I'm really at a crossroads with Brooks because of Brianna, and it's like one of the hardest things she's had to deal with in her adult life, she said. So it's just obviously something that she's going to have to figure out soon in order to be her happiest self.
But it is interesting that all of these dinner parties and even her own Thanksgiving party, Brooks is not there. He's non-existent.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about some other things that Vicki and Tamra talked about.
Okay.
When Tamra came over the day after Shannon's dinner party, and she told Vicki about how Heather confronted Eddie about them not wanting to have kids, and Vicki couldn't believe it, obviously.
Yeah. And they talked about Heather altogether as if, you know, they just didn't care for her anymore. She was a totally different person. She was a know-it-all, and they were just tired of it. And I found it interesting, though. Vicki was like, well, first Tamra was like, you know, I really don't want to fight with Heather. And Vicki was like, nope, that's not what you want, because you will lose. So I found that interesting that everyone, you know, may talk about Heather, but they all know that Heather's going to end up winning the fight.
I mean, she's kind of an ice queen. That look she gives, even across like a dinner party table or in general, it's just if someone looked at me like that, I might start crying. I don't know.
I wouldn't, like, Heather. Bring it on, Heather. I'm not afraid.
See, I don't know if I could handle it.
I don't care how much money you got, okay?
She had some intense looks.
Yeah, she does.
And just with her hand gestures, and it's just, I can definitely see their frustration.
Like,
yeah, with the finger up. Yeah.
Like you're her child.
Right.
No, Heather.
Yeah, so they kind of got on the same page there. I got to say, I love Vicki and Tamra's relationship. I feel like they're so, because you don't see that a lot in these types of shows with like the honesty, and like I feel like they're such good friends. I really like Tamra. Tamra is my favorite one.
Well, Tamra is one of my favorite ones, and Shannon is quickly growing on me. So Shannon is definitely one of my favorites so far. And but Vicki and Tamra have been through a lot. You have to understand, they're in a very good place this season so far.
Right.
Because there's always a rift between those two. So they're in a very good place this season. I'm happy to see that.
So since you brought up Shannon, I really do like Shannon. I think she's fun. I think she's a good friend so far that we've seen. She's given some pretty good advice for Vicki and for Tamra and for Heather too. And it's just the thing with her and David I just can't get past. And at first, I thought it was it is definitely a mutual thing on both of their parts. They definitely have a lot they can both work on. But in this episode, we saw a lot more of him kind of being the
one that kind of stepped back.
So there was a scene where he's like lowering the chandelier, and he's obviously just kidding around with her. He's like, oh, why don't you get your gym clothes on and just hop on the chandelier?
I thought that was cute, by the way.
Yeah, it was like a cute way, like, let's, have some fun. Let's flirt or make a joke. And she's like, oh my God, David, I will kill you this fall. Should we put something under it? Like, she's like just constantly nagging at him, and in that moment I felt bad for him.
I did a little bit because he was trying to flirt, but although we did learn that chandelier originally cost $240,000 and they got it half price, which means
a bargain.
The bargain was $120,000. So if it would have fallen, I might have.
Yeah, but the thing is that she admits that she's nagging him.
Yeah,
and she knows this is a problem, and she knows that it bothers him. But she's not doing anything to fix it. And if she wants that, that's not the way to make someone warm up to you. Yeah, it's not the communication or lack thereof in the relationship is really uncomfortable for me to watch. When he's just trying to, do a little flirting here and there. And
that was cute. I wasn't expecting that from him. So
yeah, I mean, he's kind of funny. Yeah. We didn't know that before.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to stay tuned to see if he continues that funny.
Yeah, seriously.
Or if he's just weird.
Okay, so and then we have Vicki brings up the idea. It's around Thanksgiving, so she's like, let's have a Friendsgiving or a pre-Thanksgiving meal. So she starts cooking, but she's like, hold on, I'm not doing this by myself. So she gets Tamra and Shannon to come over to help cook. Heather's out of town. She's with family in New York for Thanksgiving.
Which I think they were happy about.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. I think Tamra definitely was. It was definitely less tense in the kitchen. And even though they were talking about Heather behind her back in the kitchen, obviously. But then baby Troy, Brianna's son, is just crawling around, just, wandering, doing random things. And Vicki's like, wait, I have it all under control. I'm cooking. I'm watching him. She's not really watching him. He's
not
just
at all.
kind of doing his own thing.
Yeah.
So that was really funny.
And Tamra got the babyitis again.
Right.
She got the itch for a baby with Troy being around, so we saw that happen.
But she wasn't even interacting with the baby at all. She just said, "Dude, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
And then kind of walked away. So that was
a cool dinner that they had. Besides the gizzards and the things they were putting in the gravy, which Shannon didn't care for. But I found it interesting once again that Vicki's son made another appearance. Right. Michael, he came in and he was just as big of a I don't even know what to call, like what would you call him, a butthole?
Yeah, he just
is that appropriate? I don't know, but he was so,
I don't know what it is, but I feel like maybe it's for the cameras or maybe he's really like that, but I feel like he's just like kind of like embarrassed by his mom or something.
Yes,
I don't
that's
know.
exactly how he comes off.
He's like trying to play it cool because he doesn't want to seem like he loves his mom because he's like too cool to love his mom.
Yeah, because when he answered the door when Eddie came,
he was cool.
He was cool with them, but it was a nice little pre-Thanksgiving dinner,
right?
With Shannon and David, Vicki's son Michael, Vicki's grandson Troy, and Tamra and Eddie,
right?
And that was it. So.
And even then, they brought up the whole how this generation is more disrespectful to their parents, and Vicki was like, my kids, I don't know how my kids talk to me. I would never get away with that growing up. And you can just kind of see on Michael's face, he's like, ugh, like
my mom
being exactly what she's saying. And I'm like, well, case in point here, so that was, it's their relationship is just kind of rocky to me, it feels like. But I feel like Vicki doesn't really notice it as much because she even said it was just Brianna that she was concerned with. She's like, I don't know how Brianna talks to me like that. So that's an interesting dynamic.
It is.
But then, so we have the whole awkward thing with Shannon and David again.
Once again.
He says something, just like a little joke about the gizzards. And she's like, oh, is that your dry humor again? And he's just like, yep. It's not funny when you point out that it's a joke. Like,
in front of everyone else.
Yeah, and Tamara's just like, she needs to take a shot.
Please
and just
take another shot.
Up.
Yes.
Yeah. But they did mention that I think Shannon just wants that approval for her behavior from her girls, and they're not giving it to her. And I'm really happy about that because she needs to figure something out. She can't keep treating him that way. And he needs to, loosen up to that too, but that's just a sense of humor. You should be used to it by now after 13 years,
because and Tamra and Vicki both made comments that their relationship reminds David and Shannon's relationship reminds them of their past, their ex-husbands and their relationships and how bad they were. So they're saying that, once the communication is shut down, as theirs is, that they need to go to counseling to work on that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen the rest of the season with their dynamic. But David really did warm up for me this episode. I don't think he's as weird and aloof as we thought he was last week.
Yeah, last week he was weird.
Yeah. But I actually thought some of his jokes were pretty funny.
He was kind of cool.
Yeah, he was
maybe
better.
It's just his eyes, because his eyes are like...
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is.
His eyes.
Yeah. They're very, always...
Yeah, very wide open.
Yes.
He is alert. He was less aloof and more alert this episode. But okay, last topic. We ended the episode with Tamra and Heather meeting for lunch. Tamra calls Heather. Usually she said she runs from conflict and, is fine with just removing people from her life if need be. But she wants to keep this friendship with Heather going. What do you think about that?
So... Well, I found that interesting because I did think that Tamra would run from the Heather. I would run from the Heather friendship, but she said she wanted to, maybe because she knows she'll lose in the end of the day, as we said, in a fight with with Heather. So
I think Heather's a bad enemy to have, especially on the show.
You'd rather have her in your back pocket.
Right.
So
exactly.
I think Tamra knows that. So they show up and Tamra is giving her the ice cold grill and Heather's giving Tamra the ice cold grill, and they go back and forth, and they're basically saying the same exact things.
Right.
You won't let me talk. I won't let you talk. No, it's you that won't let me talk. No, it's you that won't let me talk. And then finally they're like, can we just move on?
They just kind of agreed to disagree. Nothing really got solved, but they're just deciding to move on. Tamra invites Heather to this ugly sweater Christmas party.
Yeah.
And so I think they're just going to let it go, but then it's going to keep coming back. They're both going to have that thing. So with that said, I think we should get into the predictions for next week.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
This is so spooky.
Yeah. Whew.
Okay, so we still haven't seen Lizzie yet, who is the new cast member.
Oh,
so
I forgot about her.
Right? I was thinking that. I was like, when are we ever going to see her? Because I thought it was supposed to be this episode. But I think we're going to meet her for the ugly sweater Christmas party.
Okay.
So I'm very anxious to see how that plays out.
And how she fits in and who's going to be her bestie.
Yeah. And I really want to have this whole Brooks situation figured out soon. They needed to stop talking about him and bring him into the episode.
Well, he's going to be brought in next episode.
Oh, yeah, they did promo that.
I just have a feeling that that Vicki and Brooks are going to continue the drama, and they are not going to be able to be in a comfortable place because it will always be what Brooks is known for. And so Vicki is not going to feel comfortable bringing Brooks into this circle, and Brooks is not going to be comfortable in this circle. And Vicki's whole life is surrounded in this circle, not only her family, but this circle of friends. So we will see, because Brooks is showing up next episode.
Right. So we have a lot of stuff coming up. The promo is just like new people coming
what
in.
about
thing. Yeah.
Shannon and David?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and more awkwardness. All right, CJ, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at CJ Simpson _ and Instagram the same at CJ Simpson _
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates, and on a few other AfterBuzz shows, Mad Men, Love in the City, and MTV's Faking It. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.